What's up, guys? It's your favorite Kiwi coach. Today we're going to be talking about how to hit your 3-wood off the deck. Let's go do this thing. Alright guys, so first point of interest is what type of lie do you have? So again, we want to make sure that when we're hitting 3-wood off the deck, there's a little bit of grass underneath that golf ball that you have it teed up just a touch, okay? So it's going to look something like this. Now, if the ball is sitting down a little bit, or it's in a divot or something like that, that's all dependent on your individual golf swing / golf game, right? So if you guys don't have a lot of club head speed, the ball's sitting down with 3-wood, probably not the best to hit. Maybe get out your hybrid, maybe get out like a 7 or 6 iron, depending on how bad the lie is, advance it up, and then play a wedge in from there. Now, if you have a little bit more club head speed and you pull the shot off in the past and you're confident with it, then go ahead and pull it off. Just realize that the ball is going to probably come out a lot more low, a lot less spin. It's going to roll out more. So if you're planning on, let's say you have a front pin, you're probably going to be behind the pin. Or if you have a bunker that you have to fly, possibly still might not even be the best shot if you can't fly that bunker, right? These are all the types of things I'm thinking about before I take this club and hit it off the deck. All right, guys, step number 1 is going to be stance width, okay? So we're going to want to take stance right around just outside shoulder length is what I like to do. Now, from there, when we set up, we're trying to make sure the pelvis is not favoring one side too much, favoring the back side. We want to make sure that if we draw a line from our ankle bone straight up, that the pelvis is going to be nice and centered. Now, second from there, I like to see a slight bit of tilt, okay? So between the sternum and the pelvis, I like to see the sternum back right around 6 degrees. Now, once we get that in the setup, now it's time to start getting into ball position. All right, guys, so with ball position, it kind of depends on your personal swing as well, but a lot of it goes for what type of flight / trajectory you want to hit, okay? So the first one we're going to go to is just the stock model that I typically like to see in terms of when you're hitting through it off the deck. So let's get to that one. So as I set up, I'm going to have both feet together. I'm going to take right around a couple inches with the lead side foot. Then I'm going to take a larger step with the trail side foot. That's going to place ball position probably right around 2 to 3 inches outside the lead heel. Now, for a stock swing, that's pretty good. That's pretty much right where you're going to want it. Now, if you want to hit the ball a little bit lower, we're going to play it slightly more back. If you want to hit the ball a touch higher, we can play it slightly more forward. But we're not going to have a variance of more than a couple inches. Because if you start going into the 4 to 5 inch range, I'll show you an example of that. So let's say this is our stock model right here. If we start playing at 4 to 5 inches too far forward, now we're going to start messing around with low point. Same thing goes if we get our stock model, we start playing at 4 to 5 inches too far back. Now we're going to start messing with low point, and we're not going to want to do that. All right, guys, so for the first way I see you guys mess up has to do with the pivot and the backswing, okay? Typically, this is pretty much your guys' full swing as well with other clubs. But again, I see a lot of movement of the pressure outside towards the outside part of the trail heel. You also get the reverse pivoters who are going too much this way as well, okay? And let's try to get a little bit more centered. Again, whenever we get that 6 degrees of tilt, that sternum is our new pivot point, and we're trying to pivot around that and keep that nice and centered. It can move a couple degrees off the golf ball. It can move a couple degrees the other way. Then we're going to start messing around with what we have to do to get back to the ball. And now we're moving our center of mass a lot, and that starts messing around with low point. Cool. Now, once we get that, the next thing I see you guys start messing up on is in terms of length of backswing. So you guys typically get a little bit too short of a backswing with the longer clubs, and then you really have to rush your transition trying to get that ball up in the air. Now, I really like to see a big full churn, so a great way to do that is let's let that right hip release. Let's let the median of our cap release a little bit. If anything, you can even let the heel, lead side heel come off the ground. Make sure you're getting a nice big full churn, and that's going to give yourself plenty of time to build up that speed that you need to hit this 3-wood off the deck. Cool. Now in transition, the main issue I see with you guys is just like everyone else, it's that steep club shaft in transition, okay? So you guys want to hit the ball and chop wood, and it's really not helping you out because you're getting too steep of angle attack. Typically that means when you're coming into the golf ball, some of you guys are de-locking the club so much you just can't get up in the air, or other you guys are kind of jumping up and throwing the hands, which then messes around with low point in contact. So what we're going to do instead of that is we're going to swing up to the top, and we're going to feel that right wrist turning that doorknob to the right, left wrist falling along suit, then adding on a little bit of flexion, and it's going to look like this. That's going to get us on a little bit more of a flatter plane, which then allows us to hit these longer clubs a lot more efficiently from there. Now the last part to this whole thing with the in-swing dynamics is you're going to want to see, once you start coming down into the golf ball, the sternum going slightly more back as you hit the golf ball. Just a touch. We're talking maybe 2 to 3 degrees with the 3-wood, because again, we're hitting it off the ground, not the tee. So like with driver, you're going to see more so maybe about 12 degrees more tilt to the back. You don't want that with 3-wood, because again, you start tilting it too much, you're going to start messing with low point, okay? So that's the last part. Making sure your sternum is staying slightly behind the pelvis, allowing yourself to kind of come down at a very level angle attack is kind of what we're going with. Maybe a couple degrees down to maybe 0 degrees, right? Neutral with 3-wood. So again, guys, those are the in-swing dynamics. Now it's time to show you guys a few swings and how I do it. All right, guys, so we have our good lie. Ball is sitting up, slight bit grass behind it. We're gonna take shoulder length apart stance. We're making sure that ball position is right out 2 to 3 inches off the heel. We're gonna add on a little bit of our tilts. Making sure we get a nice big full backswing. Coming down, making sure sternum's not going too far forward or too far back. We're staying nice and centered. And let's go hit this thing. Alright guys, so that's how it's done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to smash that like button, leave me a comment, let me know how I'm doing. Subscribe if you feel like I'm giving you guys value. Hope you guys have a good one, and yeah, see ya.